What's going on, people? So, before I go getting into this, as always, if you don't want to hear anything that's not related to whatever the actual topic of the day is, there's always timestamps so you can just move on ahead, right? Anyway, so yesterday I said I was going to do these reviews today while I was doing this like other unboxing and whatever. And then, excuse me, and then today rolls around, well, later in the day it rolled around. I was like, oh, like maybe I won't because the news came out yesterday, Sunday, that Sabu passed away at some point over the weekend. So that happened, and then I was like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. I'm a big Sabu fan. I've maybe said that, I don't know. But I thought to myself, tomorrow, Monday, today, right, I'm going to wear a Sabu shirt because that's the thing that makes sense. And if you've followed along somewhat closely, probably closer than you should have, you probably noticed that in my videos I have never worn the same shirt twice, right? And the one Sabu shirt that I have that I was thinking about, I was like, oh, well, I've already worn that. Then I remembered I have this one, so we're back on the air. Here we are. But yeah, I'll be talking about that at some point in a later video because, you know, it's a thing that sucks like a fair amount, you know? But we're going to keep it on topic from here on out, right? So there's going to be that side of the box and whatnot in case anybody wants to see some extra little details and stuff. It happens from time to time. But anyways, let's go ahead and just jump on into this. This right here, the Adidas Adizero Evo SL in Black and Lucid Lemon. It's also kind of a Volt sort of color, but I think Nike owns that term when it comes to shoes or something. I don't know, it's weird stuff going on in the shoe color world. We're going to start with the bottom. Down there, across the bottom, what are you looking at? It's the same thing you kind of saw in the last version, if you saw the last version of these that I did. This time around, it's just all blacked out. Got a little bit of that continental rubber stuff going on in the front piece, right? Which is good for traction and all that. And durability overall. And you also saw some of that back there in the heel too. Otherwise, all black, not a whole lot of flash and pizzazz. That's fine though. You got a little bit when you move up here to the midsole though, because this part is where you see like those big three stripes and they kind of dip down onto the midsole side, right? And even under that, you got a little bit of this branding in here telling you that there's Light Strike Pro on these, right? Based off of the Boston 12. The Boston 13 is coming up, I think this month, maybe next month. So soon, either way. On the inside though, like that midsole, right? That one is just all blacked out. That's where like the stripes don't come all the way down. So minor difference, but there you go in case you were wanting to see that, right? And so now a couple other shots real quick just to kind of give you some sort of idea of what all these look like, which honestly there's not a whole lot to it, right? Big black shoe, big green stripes or Volt or Lucid Lemon, whatever you want to call it. That, right? Yeah, it's not a whole lot happening, but it's a cool look, I will say that. So anyways, as far as the review goes on these, right? I'm not going to get too deep into things because I did that on the last one, which was, if you recall, this one right here, which is the same exact colorway, just inverted. I liked these a whole lot as far as how they looked and how they played out, so that's why, you know, we're doing round two. Part of the reason anyways. Anyway, so let's go ahead. We'll move on past that. I will get you some pictures in here, I guess, though, because it is a nice looking upper, right? You got this whole mesh sort of thing going on, which leads to it being super light, super breathable. Big fans of both things, right? Got the big bold striping on the side. Usually I'm not a fan of like this crazy huge branding and stuff, but in this case, it just works, right? And then on the back ends and stuff, you got a little bit more labeling and whatnot, just to, you know, drive home the point that this is an Adidas shoe and whatever. So that's cool, and as you've seen on a lot of running shoes probably, if you're a running shoe guy or girl, right? Because everybody's running nowadays. I just saw it yesterday. Either way, on the front there by the laces and whatnot, which are very thin, you have this standard Adizero thing going down the middle there, but otherwise, not a whole lot going on, right? Though the one thing that I do want to point out, here, right? Because it bothers me as much as like a shoe related thing could bother me, which is kind of like low in the grand scheme of life, you know. It's just looking at this. See that inside there? Yeah, you do, right? Because it stands out because it's like it's white with like bright green. Yeah, which for one is like a weird combination, but two, it's just weird to me that they didn't use like a black insole on these, you know, because when you look at this one, it did something that matches up with the outside of the shoe, right? So that's cool. And even on the, the Adios Pro 4, well, I'll talk about these in a second, that also had something that matched up with the way the outside looks. So it seems weird that they blacked out so much of this, you know, again, even on the bottom, and then not there. Are you going to see that when you're wearing them? No, definitely not. But like, you're going to be reminded every time you put them on and take them off. Anyway, so past that, I think I've said enough. So I'm going to give you some personal thoughts. Then I'm going to talk about some stuff with those real quick. These right here, right? Like, I really like the way these came out. I saw them online initially at SVD, right? They were kind of pricey there, and I looked around a little more. You know, that's why I was put the style codes in videos, because it's an easy way to help you look up stuff. I looked up these, found them also on End, and I was like, okay, well, it's still more than I want to spend. I don't remember what the total cost was. I'm thinking around like 180, and this is like standard of 150 shoe. But I got them in hand, and I will say they're living up to the expectations as far as the visual. They look really nice. I'll do a performance thing in the future, and to some extent during the sizing, but that part is going to be exactly where I want it to be. If anything, it was better than expectations. So I can't complain. I knew what I was getting into, and I didn't mind spending the extra money. So it's all working out pretty well for me. So if this is a thing that you're thinking about picking up for yourself for, you know, running related reasons, I would totally suggest it if you're cool with the price, right? Because these Evo SLs have been moving a little quickly for some reason. Well, I understand why. They're really good. But that also means a lot of people have to pay more than they might want to for them. So it's kind of up to you and your wallet and however you value your money as far as shoes and stuff goes, right? But anyways, I do like these a lot. Just going to throw that out there. Again, I do wish they had been a little cheaper, but hey, life works the way life works, right? So, like I said, after that, I wanted to talk about some things about these real quick. So just to kind of give you an idea, this right here is going to be the Adizero, what is it, Adios Pro 4, right? It's kind of like in that super shoe realm or whatever. Not their most expensive. This one's $250. I think the most expensive Adidas is like $500, something like that. And they have something else that's like $350 maybe. But it's up there, right? But the performance is really good. This is more like the race day offering, whereas this is more like the training offering, right? So day to day you're wearing these, then when you have your big event you run out with these, because the build is very much similar, right? But there's a lot of internal stuff going on in these that is not in these, hence the $100 difference. So that being that, that's why I have both of them. I would like another pair of these, but the colors that they have out, I'll spend something lower for something that I am kind of only okay with, but when you're talking 250, I gotta be all in on it. But either way, so that's the difference there, right? I talked about that also in the first video. Let's move on. Sizing. I bought these in a size 9.5 because I have a size 9.5 foot, tends to work out pretty well. I've said that many times. In this case, no surprises. It's my second round with these, so I knew what I was getting into. I will tell you this, they do feel like there's a little bit more room in the toe box than like I would usually prefer, right? For like running shoes. But honestly, I think that's just how some people are. But I'm truly thinking that the way these feel at a true to size fit is how your average person is going to want them to feel. Because you do want a little bit of room down there, right? And I think that this is going to be good for most people. I truly do. And with the upper being the way it is, you know, super light, super breathable. So when you're running, like that's definitely a thing you're going to notice. The one thing that I don't really care for, and I've said this before about a lot of like running shoes, I don't care for walking around in these, right? The midsole, I can't say that it's uncomfortable because it's not. It's just like a weird feeling, you know? It's something like you don't notice when you're running, but just walking around, standing around, it's just a little weird. They're kind of squishy and stuff. So that is what it is, but that's kind of to be expected on certain running shoes once you reach a certain tier sometimes. But I will say this, that squishiness, once I started actually running in these, you don't notice it so much. And they feel so light and the movement feels so fluid. Like, I put these on, I did a 5K a couple weeks ago. I got like a 6:30 pacing through the whole thing and like didn't even notice any actual effort going into it. So for me, I would say that this is like working out great. And even like the day-to-day runs have been good. They've been holding up, like the green pair obviously. It's been holding up very well, so I've got no complaints on that. So if you've seen a lot of hype around these, like at first I was a little skeptical, but like after a bit I was like, okay, you know what, I actually do get this. For $150, these things are punching way above their like weight class or whatever, however that phrase goes, I'm not really sure. But just know this, they are really good at what they were made to do, And I feel that the $150 price tag is more than justified. To that point, I didn't really mind spending the whatever it was premium to get these from End. That being that, we're done with this particular video. Got to talk about some Jordan 11s. Yeah. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Like I said, got some Jordan 11s to talk about, then some Sabu stuff to talk about, then work to do. Like going to work, that is. Later, people.